Your father might have given you a lot of valuable advice, but the war young men have to fight now is not the same as the wars our fathers have fought in the past. Our generation is facing different challenges that our fathers might struggle to relate to. Testosterone has declined a mind-boggling 30% in just the last 15 years. And the more I researched why testosterone levels are declining, the more sinister it became. So what's this insane advice I can give you that changes everything? It surely sounds like a bold claim. First, we have to understand the horrifying attack on masculinity. Men in their early 20s have almost half of what men in their 60s used to have 2 to 3 decades ago. From an average of 605.39 nanograms per deciliter between 1999 and 2000. Testosterone levels dropped to an average of 451.22 nanograms per deciliter between 2015 and 2016. The best possible advice is to diversify your strategies to optimize your testosterone. There are plenty of strategies to boost your testosterone, but the rabbit hole goes a lot deeper than you might expect. The negative feedback loop of all the things that hinder your masculinity can be reversed once you acquire a certain kind of spirit. When you have the warrior mindset, your body will rejuvenate, and with it, your mind and soul. So first of all comes semen retention. Retaining your seed isn't just about not ejaculating. Retaining your seed lets your sexual energy flow through its natural channels without disruption. Every time you lose your seed to the pixels on your screen, you're disrupting that natural channel from flowing. We're exposed to nudity more than ever. An average young man sees in 10 minutes more naked bodies than what his ancestors see in a lifetime. Watching multiple girls simultaneously is similar to switching sexual partners as far as your lower brain is concerned. This is called the Coolidge effect. You get a dopamine kick every time you see a new naked girl. In other words, you abuse your dopamine response. Take a moment to think about this harsh truth. You have to realize that porn is not made for your entertainment. It's made to make certain people rich. And the only way those people get rich is by making you addicted to their product. The porn industry has hacked our dopamine centers. And the price we're paying for this breach is with our vital energy. The same vital energy that our ancestors channeled through the right means to build our civilizations. How are we supposed to be great men like our ancestors if the best among us are addicted to porn, shallow hookups, sexual deviance, and all the social media associated with them? Once your dopamine receptors are hacked by the colossal tentacles of the so-called adult industry and social media, you're done for. You can never get any satisfaction, always seeking a stronger stimulus, until everything in life becomes meaningless and your testosterone levels hit rock bottom. Modern society wants us to believe that it's okay to waste our seed on the internet. Some people even want us to believe it's healthy. Those people are the same people who tell you it's okay to be weak, submissive, and fat. This brings us to the second layer of your testosterone restoration journey: your body fat and your diet. The problem with body fat and testosterone is the fact that it's a catch-22 situation, where the more body fat you accumulate, the less testosterone you have, and the harder it is to burn fat. Excess fat equals excess estrogen. The more excess body fat you carry, the more your testosterone gets converted to estrogen. And with excess estrogen, a man starts to lose his masculine characteristics. Keeping your body fat percentage under 15% should become a high priority for you. The first step in your journey is to cut sugar. Just like the adult industry, the food industry has hacked our systems by making us addicted to unhealthy foods like sugar, vegetable oils, processed meats, and all kinds of stuff that we can live without. And by the way, here's a question to always keep in mind when it comes to food. Am I able to find this in the wild? For example, can I find a donut in the wild? Since the answer is obviously no, I wouldn't buy one next time I feel like eating a snack. The same thing cannot be said about steak. You show me a running deer in the wild, I'll show you a steak, especially if we're starving and have nothing to eat. Many would tell you that you can indeed live without animal products, but that's not actually true. A simple rule of thumb is to eat the full spectrum. A little bit of everything makes a wholesome meal that doesn't deprive you of anything. Eat your fruits, vegetables, seeds, and whatnot, like your life depends on it, but also your beef, eggs, fish, etc. You absolutely need animal fat and animal protein to maintain a healthy body. Our ancient ancestors were hunters and gatherers, not just gatherers nor scavengers. They hunted for fresh meat. Hunting for fresh meat combines two things that boost testosterone: eating healthy and exercising with a strong motive. Imagine the high intensity of hunting a dangerous big animal in order to feed your community. 99% of modern men don't have the slightest idea about the mindset. It's no wonder why our testosterone levels are plunging. This brings us to the third layer of your practices to optimize your testosterone: high-intensity training. Physical activity in the old days, even in the agriculture and early industrial eras, is different from now. Most of us work from a computer, which puts the need for physical fitness at a second priority, at least for the majority. In the old days, many jobs required a certain amount of physical strength, and even the people who didn't work such jobs, regular chores often required a degree of physical activity. That's why obesity, high blood pressure, and diabetes were diseases that mostly infected the bourgeoisie class, who didn't engage in high-intensity physical activity and indulge in eating unhealthy foods. In our times, most people don't have jobs that require lifting weights or having stamina. The research for physical fitness is only a delicacy that 20% of people who practice sports appreciate. Even among the 20% who practice sports, most still struggle with low testosterone, because they don't target some key movements, along with keeping some bad habits. Performing resistance training, especially compound lifts such as squats, deadlifts, bench presses, and barbell rows, should become a routine in your life. Even if you don't like going to the gym, with less than $200, you can buy a bench and a barbell with some plates that you can use for home exercise. You can afford a basic gym set if you have the money to buy a PlayStation. The only one stopping you from boosting your testosterone with such a simple thing as doing resistance training is ultimately yourself. Aside from the muscular aesthetic and fixed posture you'll gradually acquire, compound resistance exercises will improve your dopaminergic reaction. Every time you finish a training session, your mood improves. It's a well-established fact that physical activity triggers a release of dopamine and serotonin, which improves your mood. Training also reduces your stress levels by regulating your cortisol blood levels. And now we need to talk about your mental health, which is the fourth layer of your testosterone restoration strategy. Low-quality sleep coupled with high levels of stress and substance abuse is surely a combination that only leads to low testosterone and depression. The downward spiral of negative mental states should be replaced with a neutral mindset, if not a slightly optimistic one. When you combine bad sleep, high stress, and substance abuse with pessimism, you're looking to step into the point of no return. The only thing that can bring you from that hellish state is strong faith. Pessimism, bad habits, and a weak mindset are surely a formula for failure. And as men who strive to become the top 1%, that's a formula that we stay away from. Optimism is also a bad formula for you. Too much optimism is sometimes willful blindness. A neutral attitude towards life sometimes proves to be the best strategy to advance. And by the way, neutral doesn't mean indifferent. Indifference is by no means equal to neutrality. Neutrality requires a certain level of humbleness and courage. There's a little bit of cowardice in indifference. To make a long story short, nothing is worse than someone telling you you need to do this and that to improve your mental health. And I'm not here to be that guy. However, what I feel like I have to say is that we often make poor choices that we know intrinsically are bad choices that usually impact our mental health negatively, but we continue doing them anyway. In other words, you really don't need to drink that can of beer that will start a whole chain of actions that will lead to you staying up late doing nothing worthwhile, only to feel bad about it the next morning and start stressing out. And before the day is over, you repeat the same pattern of behavior that brought you there in the first place. Do something more worthwhile with your time as a living man. That's the least you can do to show that you appreciate the gift of life and having to experience everything. Make your ancestors proud. They fought saber-toothed tigers for what? For us to lay in bed and do nothing? No. There's more to life than regretting being born, and you know that on an intrinsic level. This leaves us with the final layer of our testosterone-boosting pursuit. Simply get more sun in your life, both literally and figuratively. You need that vitamin D to cheer up your body. Once the body is happy, your mental state will soon follow. Vitamin D is absolutely necessary to boost your testosterone. Many men even practice sunning their testicles, which is something you can Google afterward. The motto of these men is, sun your balls. If you're not into that idea, you can just take a long walk every day when it's sunny and hit the two birds with one stone. walking and getting your dose of vitamin D. I would like to finish this video with this quote from Yukio Mishima's Sun and Steel, which is a book every young man should know about. Here's the quote. "The men who indulged in nocturnal thought, it seemed to me, had without exception dry, lusterless skins and sagging stomachs. They sought to wrap up a whole epic in a capacious night of ideas, and rejected the sun that I had seen in all its forms. They rejected both life and death as I had seen them, for the sun had a hand in both life and death." End of quote. In other words, too afraid to live and too scared to die. So brother, diversify your approach to regain the power of your masculinity. And remember that consistency is the key. It's a matter of life and death at the end of the day. That's my advice to you that I know will help you boost your testosterone because I have done it myself. And by the way, don't spare showing some love by hitting the like button and subscribe. That would let the YouTube algorithm know you appreciate this kind of content.